how to go a road trip or a backpacking trip to Meghalaya, and it's relatively very easy to plan a trip to Meghalaya. But here are 6 points that you need to keep in mind. Number one is your budget. Number two is which season should you be traveling. Number three is your routing. Where should you be staying and how should you be routing your entire trip. Number four would be what kind of transportation should you be using while traveling around Meghalaya. Number five would be what kind of what are the places that you must visit in Meghalaya and what can you skip. And the last would be which is the best time of the year, especially the month, to be traveling to Meghalaya. So when it comes to the budget that you should keep in mind while traveling to Meghalaya, if you're planning a solo backpacking trip, then keep a budget of anywhere between 20 to 25,000 bare minimum. That's provided you're ready to rough it out by using shared point sumos, which will go from point A to point B, and maybe a mix of the bus also. If you're planning to travel in a group, the cost will reduce drastically. It will come down to anywhere between 10 to 20,000 depending on the kind of transportation and the stays that you are preferring to opt for. Number two would be how many days do you need for Meghalaya. Everybody thinks it's a small state and 3 nights 4 days or 2 nights 3 days is enough, but in all reality that's okay for a tourist. If you believe you're a traveler and you really want to explore Meghalaya to the fullest, you need minimum 5 nights 6 days, because Shillong itself, to really soak in the vibe of Shillong, you need a couple of days. You need to stay a day at least in Dauki camping, because without spending a night at Dauki, it is not worth all the travel to Meghalaya. It is mind blowing to be staying a night in Dauki under the stars by the riverside along the India-Bangladesh border. Don't go to Meghalaya and call yourself a traveler if you haven't actually camped along the riverbank. The third place you have to really stay is at Shora Cherrapunji, but staying one night isn't enough. You need to stay at least a couple of nights so you can explore and experience everything that's there. That's the double-decker route bridge and the caves that are there in Meghalaya, and maybe a couple of villages also. Another good place to stay is at Rivai or at Mawling Nong. Mawling Nong is Asia's cleanest village, along with Rivai, which houses the single-decker route bridge. It's a very peaceful place to stay in the evenings once all the tourists have returned back. So that takes care of the third part, which is where should you be staying, what should be your routing. You should start your trip from Guwahati, come to Shillong. When you're coming to Shillong, make sure that you're taking a shared sumo or a private sumo. Don't take the bus, because the bus will drop you at ISBT Shillong, which is at least 8 kilometers away from Police Bazaar, and you'll have to make a secondary taxi which will cost you 500 to 600 rupees, and you'll waste a lot of time. So once you made it all the way to Shillong, make sure that you're staying in Police Bazaar, because that's the most convenient place to be staying and actually vibing. If you're staying anywhere other than Police Bazaar, you're in the wrong location while in Shillong. So once you made it to Shillong, make sure that you have at least 2 to 3 nights planned for your trip in Shillong. That is the day you arrive, and maybe on the return maybe a night or two, so that you can actually get a flavor of the nightlife and the day life of what Shillong is. After Shillong, it's advisable to head straight to Dauki. That is, you drive via Mawling Nong and Rivai. For lunch you stop over there, and then you go straight to Dauki for camping. You camp at Dauki, you spend the night over there, go raft, maybe kayaking or swimming in the river, and then you're done. The next day, that is day 3, you drive from Dauki all the way to Cherrapunji. So if you leave early in the morning, you can cover Naukalika Falls and the caves which are there in Cherrapunji. That completes your day 3. Day 4, you can go for the double-decker hike. The entire day will go for the trek. It's just 3,000 steps down one way, and it is advisable to start the trek early in the morning so that you have enough time to climb the steps back up. So that's done with day 4. Day 5, you can come back from Shora to Shillong and spend a night in Shillong, so that you can buy your souvenirs and maybe check out the nightlife of Shillong, which has got all the hype for all these years. So that's an ideal blueprint to exploring Meghalaya. After that, the next question that keeps popping up in your mind is which is the best season, and everybody on the internet has been saying that the monsoon is the best time, but honestly the monsoon is the best time for somebody who really likes the monsoon and waterfalls. If you're somebody who doesn't like either of the two, then the best time to go is the dry season, because that's when you can actually get an experience of what Meghalaya is to the fullest, because you'll get waterfalls, you will definitely get you shouldn't get rain, because if it's raining the vibe is completely spoilt in Meghalaya, because it rains way too much. So it's during the dry season that you'll actually get to go camping, you'll be able to trek better, and the locals will be out in the open, because when the sun is out everybody's out, when it's raining everybody's at home because it's cold. So plan a trip between the months of November to April, with December, Jan, Feb being the peak season to go there, since the weather is cool and pleasant. The last and final thing is, where should you what should you actually wear, and what kind of clothing do you need to carry for Meghalaya? Keep in mind that Meghalaya is a place that you need a sweatshirt regardless of the year, that the month you're traveling in, be it in summer, winter. After the sun sets it gets pretty pleasant and cold, so make sure you have a thin or a thick woolen jacket depending on how cold you feel. Other than that, you need a pair of shoes, you definitely need a few shirts, cotton shirts and t-shirts. Keep in mind that without carrying your sunglasses it's going to be a disaster, because the sun is pretty strong out here. And if you're someone who doesn't like to wake up in the morning, then mentally prepare yourself to wake up in the morning, because everything in the northeast and specifically Meghalaya starts early in the morning. So if you leave from Shillong, for example, by 11 o'clock in the evening, you're going to reach morning, by 11 a.m. You'll reach by evening, which is very late, and once it is sunset by 4:35, you've lost the entire day. So try waking up as early as say 6-7, so that you can head out and start your day by latest 8-8:30, so that you got a pretty good head start. If you can leave earlier than that, wonderful. So this is how you should go about planning a trip to Meghalaya, but keep in mind that Meghalaya is the kind of place that you should visit solo only if you have the money, because it's not the most solo traveler friendly place, since there is no real public transportation in the form of buses which are going from A to B. So unless you have your own vehicle, don't travel solo. If you're planning to travel with your friends or with your better half, that's a couple trip, it is the perfect place to be going to, since Shillong is extremely safe, Meghalaya is extremely safe, and the network is flawless all through the entire journey. Up till the border at Dauki, you will get complete Airtel and Jio 4G, so you don't have to worry about any kind of network. ATMs are in plenty, but withdraw money from home, at least 10 to 15,000, so you don't have to stand in line in Shillong to be withdrawing the money. And when you're planning to buy souvenirs, the best souvenirs to buy is without doubt the fridge magnets. Take a bottle of honey, because that's from the rainforest over here, and if you're taking a flight back home, make sure that you take a pineapple, because these are some of the most sweetest and juiciest pineapples that you'll have in your entire life.